Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Heather Hyman with Sweet Tea Social Marketing, and I am so glad that you are here. I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Steph Nissen. Steph, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. Good morning.
Very great. So this morning, everyone, what we're going to be doing is doing our Google Hangout. We have been doing a Google Hangout every single month since January of 2015. We're also on Periscope. So I've got my little handy phone right here. So everybody right now is watching on Periscope, and we are going to be taking questions on Periscope and Twitter, but we'll tell you all about those cool details in a minute. So where are you? You've landed here and you're watching this right now either live, or you're maybe watching the replay on Periscope, or maybe you're watching this on YouTube. But we're going to be talking about, are you new on social media? Avoid these mistakes. Steph Nissen and myself have been in business, and we have a job and we have the privilege to help other people with their social media and with their strategy. So before we go much further, let me just kind of give you a little bit of a glimpse of who we are. So Steph Nissen, Steph is right here with us on this actual Hangout, Scope, Periscope, whatever you want to call it. Steph Nissen is a social media manager, marketing consultant, speaker, blogger, and quite a few more things at her company, which is called Nissen Media. She works primarily with small and local businesses, getting them online, helping them leverage the power of social media, and then ultimately helping them grow. So that's just kind of a little bit of a gist about Steph and her company. And those of you that are watching me on Periscope, and those of you that are watching here actually on the Google Hangout, my name is Heather Hyman with Sweet Tea Social Marketing, and I'm the founder of my company, which I have had since 2014. And I basically have a focus of speaking, marketing strategy, and consultation and management, all for social media, helping small businesses and entrepreneurs that are kind of feeling like, I don't know what to do next, or you find yourself at 11 o'clock at night going, I haven't posted in 2 weeks on Twitter, and yet we're supposed to be like there. So sometimes just business owners are overwhelmed and they're working crazy trying to get it all done. So that's just kind of what I love. And I'm actually located in South Carolina, just on the outskirts of Columbia, in a small town called Blythewood. And Steph, tell everybody where you are in the world.
I am also in a very small town, but I am just outside St. Louis, Missouri, in Union, town of about 10,000 people or so. So I enjoy it, though. I miss the big city, but this is fun.
Okay, very cool, very cool. And we are recording this on Periscope, so hello to everyone on Periscope. Thank you so much for being here, and you are absolutely very much a part of this conversation. So what we would like everybody to know is throughout this Hangout, we want you to be educated and be helpful and entertained, hopefully, and laugh a little bit along the way. But what we'd love for you to do is know that we're here to answer your questions. So here is how you can best ask your questions. Here's the hashtag that we're going to use, Heather and Steph. Okay, so it's hashtag Heather and Steph. The word and is all spelled out. If somebody on Periscope wanted to type that in, hashtag Heather and Steph, I would love you for it. And it's Steph with a PH at the end. And Steph is going to be checking if anyone makes any comments on the actual comment section of the Google Hangout page. And we are going to be checking on Twitter also throughout this entire conversation. So pretty much send us your questions via Twitter or the Google Hangout page, or you can even put them right here in the stream on Periscope, and I am going to do my very best to make sure that we're paying attention. So kind of the flow of this, we're going to go into a little bit of our story because we want to just be transparent, share with you a little bit about how we use social media, and then we're going to each give you like 3 solid tips. Avoid these mistakes to help you in your journey in your business. So let's go ahead and just kind of dive in, Steph, and get started with you. Why don't you take a few minutes and share with everybody a little bit about how in your current business you got started on social media, and then kind of throughout there, just sprinkle in those 3 tips that you want to share.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Heather. All right, so when I got started on social media for my business, which is Nissen Media, that was actually, I officially launched it a year ago tomorrow. So September 2nd will be my 1-year business anniversary, which is kind of exciting. And I'd already set up a Facebook page. That's what I started with when I got myself on social media for my business. I set up a Facebook page with the name Nissen Media because I was like, that'll work. That's close. It's my name. I didn't really put a whole lot of thought into it and just did Facebook because that's what I was most comfortable with. I didn't jump on every social network. I didn't grab my handle everywhere. I just started with Facebook. And then after that, I kind of slowly dove into other pieces. I was already using social media personally, so I had accounts on a lot of different networks. But again, I was just using them personally, not in a business standpoint. So it took, after I officially launched, I had my Facebook page going, and then I got over to Twitter, and I realized I don't want to start over. I didn't want to start a new Twitter account. And if you see actually down here in my little caption, it has my Twitter handle underneath my name. It says @StephNissen and then an underscore. That's because my old username, when I was using it personally, was something that I set up when I was, 20 years old, and it's embarrassing. And I wasn't using my actual name. So when I decided to go back and I was like, okay, I'm going to use this professionally, I need to put my real name in here. My name was no longer available. So I had to try to come up with a variation. So I wound up with @StephNissen and then the underscore, which I have just embraced. And then I slowly moved over and I grabbed an Instagram account. I set up a Google Plus page and went and claimed all of my names, all those other places, once I learned my lesson with Twitter. And then I'd been using social media personally, like I said, but I'd also been using it from a business standpoint before I set it up for my own business, because I worked with social media marketing for other companies, just their in-house marketing person. So one of the things that I learned in the very, very beginning, and that's my first big tip, is to not have too many cooks in the kitchen. Okay. The first company that I worked with was a real estate company, and we had 2 people managing the social media in-house. And then we also had the office manager who had access, the CEO had access, and then the real estate agents in the office also were able to just put in their 2 cents whenever they wanted. Too many people had access to this Facebook page. So what happened was the tone was inconsistent. And there were spelling errors because the 2 people who worked on this in-house, this is our baby, how am I going to say that? We are going to be a little better about editing. We're going to be a little better about thinking through what we're going to write. So we're going to catch that spelling mistake, and we're going to catch that this is an inconsistent sentence or the grammar is incorrect. But the real estate agent or even the office manager, who this is not their job, they're just trying to get a message out, they're not really thinking about it, they are not going to be as technical. They're not going to be as editing with their eye on what they're about to write. So then we have this, spelling errors. And then we have irrelevant content that goes out because it doesn't make sense. And what that one agent thinks would be good for the message, that makes sense to me. It doesn't actually make sense to the brand because that's not actually their job. They're just trying to be helpful, which we like that. So we don't want to discourage them from being involved, but what we had to do ultimately was to limit the access, was to have one person have access to that page. And then we had everybody just kind of email their suggestions. Like, hey, I came across this article, and send it to me, or send it to even the other marketing guy in the office. So then we had this constant stream of content that we could use without a bunch of people trying to get in and try to make those posts as it happened. Because then you also get things like overlapping posts because people get an idea at the same time. So then you have posts go out 5 minutes ago, 6 minutes ago, 7 minutes ago, and they're overlapping. And unless this is Twitter where things are fast paced, Facebook doesn't really like that. We also saw once where one of the people who had access confused the business page with their personal page.
Uh-oh.
He posted things that were meant for their personal page on the business page. So don't have too many cooks in your kitchen, especially with social media. And then this next tip is one that I've seen now as I've started working more with businesses, is I get a lot of clients who come to me and go, we're not making enough money. We are struggling and we need to find some way to fix our struggling business. And they think that social media is their cure. This is what's going to fix everything. Everybody's doing social media. This is where I need to be, and this is going to save my business. And then they put all this pressure, of course, then on me or, on Heather, and going, here, you fix it. Now it's not my problem. It's yours. So now if the business fails, it's your fault, and it's not mine. But unfortunately, though we wish it were true, social media is not your cure-all, end-all. If you have a failing business, social media is probably not the best route to go to try to fix it. Let's see what's wrong. Is it your customer service maybe? Is it maybe the products? Is it your other marketing that you've done? There are so many factors that go into a business not making it. And you cannot then stretch yourself even thinner by trying to add a new piece to the puzzle when you don't have all your other ducks in a row. Okay, so that's something that I know Heather is the same way I am. We think a lot alike, which is why we do these hangouts. So when I go in and we start talking about, social media for your business, I have a lot of other questions that to some people don't seem like they're related. I want to know other marketing things that you've done. I want to know, where are your other reviews? I want to know how long you've been in business. I want to know your business goals. I want to know everything about you, because ultimately that is what I'm going to use on social media to help you develop your voice. But I want to know your past, and I want to know what your visions are for the future. And all those things are going to factor into how we use social media to boost your business. Yes, it's going to help your business, but it's not your cure-all. So that was a big one, and I've seen that a lot as now I'm working with it. And I'm sure you've seen it too, Heather.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
And then my third one is one that thankfully I have not had this issue, but there's always that possibility, is when you get negative feedback publicly, either on a Facebook review or on Yelp or on Google Plus, that people will delete it or ignore it altogether, or the worst one, responding to it negative. So telling somebody, if somebody comments that your customer service was terrible and they hated, the food that they were served, and then you comment back and say, well, everybody else liked it. It's just you. You're the problem. Don't berate your customers. That's just inviting a firestorm inside. That's just inviting them to go tell their friends more of these awful things. Okay? And then you're inviting more people to leave you these terrible reviews. You're inviting more people to badger you on social, and then it just explodes and it becomes uncontainable. So what we do, instead of deleting, instead of ignoring, instead of getting angry, you respond. This is an opportunity, and you have to see those negative reviews as an opportunity. People leave those reviews because they want you to respond. They want you to do something about it. They're giving you this opportunity to save them as a customer. If I didn't really care anymore, I'm like, it was a bad experience, whatever, I'm not going to take the time out of my day to comment on your page and let you know. This is your opportunity to go, apologize. I'm so sorry that this happened when you were at our store, or you were at our restaurant, or, when you received your order in the mail, that it wasn't what you expected. Here, give me a call. This is the phone number. This is the email address. How can I reach out to you? And let's take that conversation offline. Don't start discussing it on Facebook. Don't start, asking them more questions and let them get angrier if you don't handle it the right way. Take that conversation away. Acknowledge it publicly, and then take it aside with them. Okay? One of the things I have seen a lot is sometimes the people won't even respond again. All right? They just wanted to complain. And some people are like that. They just want something to be angry about. They just want something to complain about. Mm-hmm. But if you leave it alone and you don't respond, even if they didn't care if you responded, what does that say to anybody else who comes up across your page? You don't respond. You don't care about your customers because you didn't respond to this one. So it's going to leave a bad taste in someone's mouth. A lot of us, especially for small and local businesses, if I get a recommendation to try out this electrician or this plumber, I'm going to go scope you out. I'm going to go look on Yelp and Angie's List and Home Advisor and Facebook, and I'm going to read all your reviews, because I'm trying to remember who said it, but we'll trust the opinion of a stranger over what the business will say about themselves. So I'm going to look at those reviews, and that's what's going to tell me if you're somebody I want to work with. So if you don't respond to the negative ones, I see that there's no resolution, there's no even attempt to make this right, that's going to leave a bad taste in my mouth, and you're probably not going to get my call. So that's definitely a big one. So those are my 3 mistakes that you should definitely avoid. 1, too many cooks in the kitchen. 2, thinking social media is your failing business's cure. And 3, deleting, ignoring, or berating a customer who leaves you negative feedback.
Okay, no, that's great. Now, if anyone on Periscope has a question, I'm going to pay attention. If you've got a question to anything that Steph has just said, make your question be known right now, because I'm giving 100% of my eye attention to the Periscope stream here, and I want to make sure that we answer your question. So, Steph, and I'm going to let you let us know if anybody on Google Hangout has any questions. And while we're waiting real quick, I just want to say one thing to kind of piggyback on what you just said. And I think that it's really important as business owners that may be watching on Periscope or on their computer, or that are watching this on the Hangout, is that it's really important to say to yourself, okay, I want to be on social media, and I want to go there, and I want to make sure that I've got these other things in place, because to your point, you know, social media is very powerful, but it should not necessarily be your only marketing plan. It should be a part of your overall marketing plan. And just to let people know that this is something that takes time. This isn't just 15 minutes of effort that's just a couple posts, and it's different than, you know, the content's different than what you may put on your personal page. No, it's truly a marketing plan. I have a Google Plus page, but rarely use it. Should I delete it? Okay, so someone's asking that they have a Google Plus page, and should they delete it if they rarely use it? Okay, Steph, I'm going to let you answer, and I'm going to aim the Periscope screen right to you so they can see your lovely face.
Well, thank you. So Google Plus, yes, those one of those thorns in our side, but no. I would say do not delete it. What I do suggest is going in and verifying that all the information you have listed there, in your contact information, your website, all that information is correct. Make sure that if someone comes across it, you know, if they do find you through a Google search, that everything there leads them to where they can contact you, where they do know, you know, who you are, what you do, why you do it. If you're a local business, I am a huge advocate for having a Google Plus page, because the SEO power and the Google search power of a Google Plus page is still very relevant. Google Plus is kind of in the air as they make all these changes, Google Photos and Streams and what's going to happen next. But right now, keep it. Okay, leave it there, make sure it's complete, verify, you know, if you are a local business with an address, verify your listing on Google Maps. What's going to happen is if I search for, I've used this example before, but I have a client here in town who's a welding company. They sell safety products and do, you know, welding supplies and stuff. So we went and just updated their Google Plus page. That's all that we did. And we, you know, added a logo, added the contact information, verified the listing. And then what happens is if you used to search for the name of their company, Eagle Safety Products, if you searched for it before, you got the regular Google search results. But now, because we verified the listing, tied it with the Google Plus page, if you search for Eagle Safety Products, what happens is on the right-hand side, right next to all those search results, on the right-hand side, you see the picture of their logo, you see their contact information, you see their reviews, and that draws your eye. That is not just, you know, the Google, you know, search results that there's text and it's boring. This draws their eye over, and I see your logo right away. I see your location. I see, you know, I can click and get the map. I can click your phone number and call you right away. So Google Plus is still very, very relevant, especially for small and local businesses. So even if you're not going to actively use it, just update it, make sure it's accurate, and then you can leave it alone.
Very cool. I hope that that answers your question. Thank you for asking. Okay, so I'm going to kind of dive right in here and kind of talk about a little bit about my story. And, you know, when I started my social media marketing company, I was at a place where I wanted to make sure that I got my branding down. So I was in love with my name. So I picked Sweet Tea Social Marketing, and I was super excited about it. But I was at this place where I didn't necessarily have the creative in that moment to create a website. And so I went ahead and actually launched my business, so to say, on social media. And so we can do a whole hangout on another day on should you have a website for your business. And so please don't misunderstand for what I'm saying, because I do believe in 2015, if you are a business wanting people to take you if you want people to take you seriously, then you need to be having a website, because it's 2015. And that's just, to me, should be an understood if you want to be seen as professional and like you're really there to show up and really want people to see you as credible, as a part of like the current movement of where we are in marketing. But that to be said, my tip would be is thinking that you have to wait to have a website before you can get your business started. That's absolutely not true. Or if your business has been around for 10 years and you are just now saying, okay, what's this social thing? I'm not doing it because everyone says I should. Like, I truly believe I should go there and I should be there, and I'm at that very beginning stage. Don't tell yourself that you need to not get on social media until the website is made and created. I mean, it wasn't a long period of time. There was probably around a 5 to 6 month gap where I was only using my social media platforms to conduct my business. But I will tell you that I met Stephanie before my website was built. I met Kim Garst. I met amazing people at conferences. I was making connections on LinkedIn, which led to a $5,000 job contract with people who lived in California, whom I did not know. And they never once asked me if I had a website. They just saw that I was credible, that my LinkedIn profile was solid, and I was performing and doing the job of what they asked of me. And, my business just continued to grow. So, that's my tip, is avoid the mistake of thinking that you have to have the website before you can actually get on social media for your business. And that kind of leads me to my point number 5, is you want to make sure that you have your social media handles be as consistent as possible across your various social media platforms. And, we all know that this is kind of like an evolving process. Stephanie even alluded to some of her Twitter stories along the journey, but think that through. Decide for yourself if you need to have the branding structure that you want to go after your business name, or are you going for the approach that you want to more so brand you and you want to use your name? So for example, I kind of was like back and forth with this. So all of my social platforms aren't the same. You'll see up on the screen, it says, my at Heather Hyman. So kind of when I started out on Facebook, I did create the extension on Facebook is simply Sweet Tea Social Marketing. And I think that makes sense for a business Facebook page. But as I continued to want to make sure that I was growing myself, especially as I'm wanting to do more speaking and I'm wanting people to connect me with my company name, I have my Periscope, my Twitter, my Blab, and my Instagram all have the handle of my name, which is Heather Hyman. So as consistent as you can be, but don't make one Heather Hyman, then the next one Sweet Tea Social Marketing, and then the next one just like, Sweet Tea with Sugar. I mean, you need to be consistent and have a plan, and you want people to follow you, and you want to grow those connections and have multi-connections with people. Let's say, someone follows me on Periscope, but they also are interested in following me on Instagram. So I can kind of easily work into my call to action messages at the end saying, my handle is the exact same on Periscope, Twitter, Instagram, and Blab, just to make that easier for that recognition. So a lot of times people don't, like you say, they're, as entrepreneurs and business owners, there's so much out there that we are trying to think about and we're trying to process on what we're going to do. So it's really, really important that you just maybe take that moment and say to yourself, what do I want my handle to be? You know, am I going more for the business route, or am I going more for the branding of myself? I just want to do a quick shout out on Periscope. Jose says, I agree, uniformity in social handles is important. And we've had tons of hearts. We've had tons of people sharing out this to other people. So thank you guys so much on Periscope. How many times?
I have one here. Yeah. I'm going to jump in there since we're giving shout outs. Dr. Finch commented on the Google Hangout page, said, great information, ladies, and thank you for sharing. So thank you, Dr. Finch.
Word, word, word. I think it's really important for people to have, like you said, people in their lives as they're having these conversations. You know, maybe you don't have a business coach, but maybe there's a networking group of people that you speak to and that you talk to and you respect who they are, or you have mentors that you can go to. And don't take on the burden that all these decisions all have to be made just with yourself. You can reach out to people who you trust. So that's really key. You need to be asking for insight from people who you like and trust, but do it in a way that you're gathering information. For you, the business owner, for you, the entrepreneur, you need to be making smarter decisions. You know, not just necessarily like, oh, I just don't want to make decisions. What does Ed think I should do? You know, I'm going to go do what Ed said. You know, you need to own it. It's your business. If you want to go down a path of branding yourself by your name, well, own it, go for it, and just move forward. And even if you don't plan to be on all of those social media platforms, I highly recommend that you at least just keep a little note in your Evernote or in a draft on your computer in a Word document and make those accounts. Keep the username and password for in the future that you would like to use it, to try to keep those handles as consistent as possible. But it doesn't matter. If you are putting out great content, if you're showing up, if you're, you know, doing great products and services, or if you're making lasagna and you're serving great food, people will be able to still find you. We just want to help you make it as easy as possible for them. If you can, try to have some consistency among your handle branding. And then my sixth and final tip, and just a recap for anybody who's joining this on Periscope, we're talking all about today. If you're new on social media, these are tips that we have for you, helping you to avoid these mistakes to just be smarter in business. So we're just kind of sharing a little bit of a glimpse of our story. And this is a mistake that I see many businesses making. And I probably talk about this at least once a week, whether it's at a speaking event or it's just a one-to-one conversation. And that is, people come to social media as a small business thinking they need to be on every single social media platform. And why? Because they know, oh, well, they just said that 13 million people are on Periscope. Well, I need to be on Periscope. Well, a billion people are on Facebook. I need to be on Facebook. Oh, this is the newest thing. I need to be here. And it's almost the intent of every small business owner is to just try to reach more people who are interested in what they have to sell, or, you know, what they're trying to offer. That's a common denominator. We all want that. But at the end of the day, it is a mistake, in my opinion, to go to social media not really giving it the true time that it deserves. And you would be far better served to say, who are my target customers? Where are they already on social media? Let me go to that social media platform. Let me master one first. Let me do it well. Let me be awesome. Let me grow my following. Let me show up and make conversations with other people, because it's not all about sell, 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 sell. It's about making connections, good content, humor, inspiration. You know, oh, you just got a delivery at the store. Take a picture of it, putting that on your social media. And then once you feel really solid in a plan executing one social media platform, then by all means, feel free to add maybe another if you want to continue to grow in that path. But I see too many people wanting to be short-staffed. They're already overworked, and they're trying to take on doing 4 social media channels, and it's crazy. Yeah, someone says you need to learn to swim before you jump in. And so, you know, just in a nutshell, so my tips were thinking that you have to wait to have a website before you launch on social media. And I do think that that's a mistake. You do need to be smart about it. You need to be intentional, but you can actually absolutely start using social media to help promote and market and give value for your brand. Tip number 5 is have your social media handles be as consistent as possible and make sure that you're following the path for the personal branding or the business branding. And tip number 6 was avoid thinking that you need to go and be on every single platform from day one. Let it be a process. You know, slow and steady wins the race. This is a marathon. This is a long term. Don't come to social media thinking that this is instant gratification, because it isn't. So do you have anything to like tack on to the end of that? And I'll check and see if we have any questions on Twitter.
I haven't seen any questions on Twitter with the hashtag. I've got that pulled up still. No, I mean, and Heather's nailed it with her tips. Absolutely. I did want to add on, you know, learning that, you know, the comment that you have to learn to swim before you jump in. And I think that's really, really important. The other side of that is to don't take too long worrying about learning all the techniques and learning all the ins and outs and all the do's and don'ts before you actually finally take the leap. Because by the time you think you've mastered the way it is, it's changed. We know that Facebook changes their algorithm. It feels like weekly. I'm sure it is. Things change so rapidly. You spend some time, do your due diligence and learn before you jump in, but don't wait too long because then you'll miss it.
Very cool, very cool. So does anybody on Periscope have a question? We're talking about if you're new to social media and you want to dive in, we are talking about mistakes to avoid. If you have a question, I'm going to be making sure that I'm paying attention for the next minute or two. So if you've got a question on Periscope, ask your question. And in the meantime, while we are waiting on that, Steph, you know, I just want to ask you like this question, you know, hypothetical. You do social media management consulting and you help people, and you know that's what I do as well. And what I find a lot of the times is a business owner wants help and they come and they're asking for help, but kind of when you sit down to kind of say, you know, here's some things that I'm noticing, sometimes that can come across from the business's perspective that it's kind of coming across, they take it very personal. And so do you ever experience that? And what words of wisdom might you have for that business owner that does want to reach out and they do actually want to get help, but yet they're kind of a little hesitant to like receive that help?
I think that's definitely something that I've seen. I have a couple of clients actually currently who I work with them and we kind of go through, here's what we're going to try. And it's about, you know, just kind of easing into it to make them more comfortable. I mean, each person that you deal with is a little different, just like each social platform we deal with is a little different. And they can be finicky. But when it comes to people, you just have to learn, you know, how do they want to be talked to? You know, what's going to connect with them. Some people, you need to talk to them kind of delicately. And then other people, they want you just lay it out on the line. Just tell me how it is and everything. I can take it. And it takes that time in the beginning of getting to know each other. It's like any new relationship.
Right.
So, you know, easing into it, you know, and I always start off more hesitant because I don't know how somebody's going to respond than starting off, you know, I don't want to be abrasive.
Right.
But then after a point, you know, even if it's not working, the kind of gentle touch, we might have to step it up a little bit. Be like, all right, look, I'm trying to help. I promise I'm on your side. This is to help you. Exactly.
And just kind of like to follow up with that, if you are considering getting someone to help you, if they don't actually ask you, which I actually like to have this conversation just right at the top, because that way nobody thinks that you're having the conversation because of like an email or something that's transpired. If you do it up front at the beginning, and so I encourage everyone watching this to know that you can ask and say the same thing if it doesn't already happen, is you can pretty much just put a focus and say, hey, I'm really excited to have you in this journey, but I want to just kind of be really open and honest about like how we're going to communicate. and say, you know, I would love for you to just tell me exactly like what we could work on for improving. Oh my goodness, that went so fast. Okay, I missed that. I'm going to try to see if we can answer that. We do have a question, and I have an answer for this, and you can certainly add more to it. But someone said basically, okay, so I'm wanting to do social media. I need to pick one platform. Which one do I pick? So hands down, it doesn't matter what Heather says, and it doesn't necessarily matter what Steph says, but the answer to that, if you're wondering where you need to go on social media, if you're wanting to get started, is you need to say, who am I trying to reach? You can't have this generic megaphone mentality to think if you're living and if you're breeding, you're my customer. Breeding, not breeding. If you're breathing, let's clarify. This is not a crazy scope. If you're living and breathing, you're my customer. And by all means, you may have a very diverse range, but you need to really put a target, look at the last 6 months of your business, kind of identify the age of that person, maybe some characteristics about that person. Once you have in mind that my ideal client are women, let's say between the ages of 30 and 50, you know, that like to watch Southern Living, you know, where should I go? Okay, starting to brand a scope, Twitter, or one handle of Facebook, Insta, or a brand name but established. Is that okay? Okay, hey, hold on one second, the writing baker. So my question is, you decide where you're going to be on social media based on where those people are. And again, you could say women ages 30 to 50 that read Southern Living magazine. I'm sure those women are on Facebook. I'm sure those women are on Pinterest. And I'm sure those women are on Twitter. And we could go on and on and on. But you kind of have to identify what you're selling. So if you are an interior designer that's looking for that age range, well, Pinterest could be really powerful for you if you have a website and you want to have those graphics and those visuals, but you need to make sure and clarify that you have beautiful photos. And if you're sitting here on the fly in your free time wanting to do social media and you think that Pinterest is your number one strategy, you need to have a real like reality check with yourself that the graphics that you need to take need to be really great, beautiful, eye-catching, giving content and giving value before you identify if that's the right platform for you. And you know, the same is true for Twitter. I mean, the culture on Twitter is very different than it is on Facebook. So you really have to say, what are the pros, what are the cons, exactly who am I needing to reach, and how do I get on that platform? And that's a common question. Thank you so much for that question on Periscope. A lot of people ask that question. Do you get that too, Steph?
I do. I get that question a lot. Well, which one do I need to be on? Well, who's your demographic? Well, everybody. No, not everybody. And you have to narrow it down and then really determine. It's a process to pick the right one, because what's the right one for you is not the right one for everybody. So take some time and a little bit of homework, but it's worth it.
Very much so. Very much so. Okay, so we're going to kind of go ahead and wrap this up. We've really been excited to have everybody here. We have like tons of people watching us on Periscope, which is super, super cool. And we've got people here with us on Google+. How is the best way to master a platform? That is a question that we got. There are tons of great resources online. You need to have mentors and people that are putting out great content. I know Steph blogs a lot. I blog a lot. We're out there putting out information to really just help people. So if you're looking for like free resources, you just need to be following Steph and me personally and make sure that
I like that tip.
following our content, because we're out there trying to help business owners be smarter. That said, and this is not a shameless plug, but like I know Steph offers as well as I offer, and we have like coaching. Like if you need help with Facebook, I will do a Skype, or I will do a phone call, or I'll do a Google Hangout with you personally, walking through with a screen share, like step by step on how you in your brand and your business could be smarter, some strategy ideas, and kind of really helping make sure that you know the nuts and the bolts of that whole social media platform? So that's a really great question. But you know, so many businesses are trying to do so much. And so it's like my main message is, even if you don't want to hire someone to help you, which there are lots of business owners that out there do social media well, and you know, pat on the back, they're doing a great job. But to really be awesome in social media, you need to stay on top of the latest changes, the new algorithm changes in Facebook. You know, you need to make sure that you're really having the true time to pay attention to all these changes that are going to be taking place. And, you know, that's something that, again, Steph and I do. Like, that's our job, to come alongside business owners and help them be smarter in their business. So Steph and I are pretty excited. We've got some top secret collaborations that we're working on, but we're really excited to be able to put out some products, actually help people who may not necessarily be able to afford the one-on-one coaching, but they would still get great help and insight by having that custom training for, you know, let's say you need a 2-hour, you know, session on how to be smarter on Pinterest, or the same is true for Facebook or Twitter. So those are some cool things that we are going to keep you guys posted on. So Steph, real quick, do me a favor, tell everybody, one, how they can keep up with you, where they can find you on the web, and then if you could, if you've got just like an offer, something that you would just like to throw out there to anyone right now who's listening, who maybe could possibly use some help that you might want to give to anyone who is watching this on Periscope, that's watching this on YouTube or the replay, and if they could take advantage of that with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us here on our Google Hangout and also on Periscope. We love you guys. If you want to keep up with me, down here, you can see that my Twitter handle, Instagram handle, Periscope, it's all at Steph Nissen and an underscore. You can also find me on my website. It's stephnissen.com. And then, of course, all the links to all my different social networks are all there. But what I do want to offer is, we talked about, you know, maybe you do need just some one-on-one attention. I do coaching sessions for 60 minutes. And I normally offer those at $75 for those 60 minutes. And we do them completely custom to you. So that is, you tell me what you want to learn, and I will design a class that's just for you, for your level, for whatever network you want to learn about for your business. So I do a lot of that. Like I said, I normally do those for $75. But because I love you guys for hanging out with us, I'm going to do them for $40. So that's almost 50% off what I normally do. So $40, and we'll get 60 minutes. And we will do it, if you're local to Missouri, we can do it in person even. I'm always happy to do that. But then I do most of my sessions via Skype or Google Hangouts, or we can even do it over the phone. But I prefer to see your smiling face. So if you're interested in that, you can send me a tweet. At Steph Nissen _ or you can just shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to chat with you about it and get it scheduled. You can email me at contact, CONTACT, at nissenmedia.net. Okay?
Awesome.
I know you've got an offer too, Heather, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello. People are still joining our Periscope. I feel like I'm making everybody dizzy. I'm very sorry, Periscope. I'm sorry for being dizzy. I'm sorry for making people feel that I'm not looking at them. I'll kind of put my phone right next to my camera on the phone. So yes, I have an offer, and what I would love to do is let you know that if you want to get consistent information, whether it be latest trends, just new things that are going on, the new digital products that I was just talking to you about, I would love for you to come on over to my website and get on my email list. That's absolutely free, and it doesn't cost you anything. So let me tell you my website address, and it's just sweetteasocialmarketing.com. If you go to my website and go there, you'll see right in the middle of the screen a little button that says Let's Connect. If you click the button that says Let's Connect, you will be signing up for my e-newsletter, and you're going to get some great information. First of all is an ebook saying 4 great things that you need to be doing to be getting great results on social media. So I'd love for you to do that. And what I'm going to do as a special offer for those people that are watching this on Periscope, you have to right now share this scope on Twitter, and I'm going to get a notification that you shared it, and you will go into my drawing. And I ultimately am going to pick one person who has signed up for my e-newsletter to get $500 off of my services that I offer. So I will pick one person within the next 24 hours. So just go to sweetteasocialmarketing.com and sign up for my e-newsletter. That's it. That's pretty simple. Really appreciate everybody. Again, the joy of social media is it's kind of been a little awkward, looking left, looking right. But at the end of the day, there's been about 25, to 50 people on Periscope who've been able to be a part of this conversation with us, Steph. And, to me, it's worth it having just kind of one extra phone, awkwardly sitting here holding my phone, praying that my cell phone doesn't die, just being able to have great conversations. And if more than anything, what Steph and I really want you guys to know is that we are here wanting you to know that you can have people that are going to look for your best interest as your business. We're not going to go tell you to be on Instagram if we feel that that is a waste of your time. And that doesn't mean we're the decision maker, but we're saying we're going to be there to help you try to be smarter in business, because that's what we do. So thank you, Steph, for being here. You're always a lovely co-host. I'm very excited to come back. We do these Google Hangouts every single month. And I'll give you a little side note. Today's September 1st, but this was really our August Hangout that just kept getting pushed back because life was crazy. So we will be doing another September Hangout later this month. We're going to tell you all about that in just a few weeks, but just give us a follow. You can follow us on Twitter. There's my handle right on the screen, and it's just at Heather Hyman. And Steph Nissen, go ahead and say something, Steph.
What up? Hey.
That's
me, and there's my handle down there, at Steph Nissen _.
Awesome. All right, guys, have a blessed day. We're going to end this Hangout, and we're going to end this Periscope. See you later.